Welcome to Thursday. It's December 25th, 2025. Your Day Weather Podcast being brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at WyomingAdvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. We're going to be looking at a brief update on what's going on with the weather. And actually, there's a fair amount of weather that will be taking place in the western United States between now and early next week. That West Coast storm is going through its life cycle, fragmenting a bit right now, but it's been a very impressive storm system. Huge rainfall totals, huge snow totals in the mountains of California, and now it's going to be fragmenting, and pieces and waves are going to be coming through. Unfortunately, we're going to have some windy areas on this Christmas Day, especially in central Wyoming, south central Wyoming, as southwest winds aloft are increasing, and that's going to go through the wind gaps, making some regions, not all areas, but some areas kind of windy today. And of course, we're still on the mild side of the storm, so temperatures are going to again be very far above average. Rain and snow showers will spread across the Great Basin into the western areas of Colorado, Wyoming, all across Idaho, Utah, and parts of the Pacific Northwest and Arizona today. Then, as we get into Friday night and Saturday, the bigger piece of this California storm will be pushed further inland. And what this is going to do is there's going to be an area of enhanced rain and snow showers turning to snow across some portions of southern Wyoming and parts of Colorado and parts of Utah. We'll show you that here in a moment. Then as the bigger wave comes through, we are going to see a brief shot of cold air. It's actually going to feel like winter across most areas Sunday and Monday, a significant drop in temperature, and it is looking like even parts of the high plains might even have a chance for a little bit of snow on Sunday. We hinted at that yesterday, and we'll show you where that may happen with today's update. So here's the main piece of storminess off the coast of California. Still plenty of instability and moisture, bringing more snow to the Sierras, and showers, sometimes heavier showers and even thunderstorms across portions of California today. Here is a little wave of moisture that ejected from the storm yesterday. So underneath that circled area here will be rain and snow shower activity today. There's a little bit of a gap. So this is piece number one. This area right here will get a kick tomorrow and into Saturday as it finally begins to move. So you can see the significant moisture still going on into California, the heavy rain in the mountains, freezing rain as the transport of air, this is pretty interesting, all the way from California, overrunning very cold Canadian air, causing a freezing rain event in parts of Montana, southern parts of Alberta, and Saskatchewan up there. They've got freezing rain advisories up there as the warm Pacific air going over the Arctic air. And you can see a good swath of deep moisture coming in from that wave that broke off the California storm system. So we have a whole host of watches and warnings and advisories for weather across the country. All this gray you're seeing is fog. We have advisories for dense fog right here. This is the warmer air overrunning the colder air, and some snow on the ground in the upper Midwest, making for some fog, a lot of fog along the Gulf Coast. And then you can see we've got winter weather advisories along the northern tier and along the West Coast. We still got flood warnings and advisories. And then finally, the Utah mountains going to see a good shot of snow. We have winter weather advisories for Wyoming's western mountains and Idaho's mountains as this system comes on through. You get into the rest of the region, other than the fog, not much going on. Going to be a little wintry across parts of the Northeast today with a white Christmas up there. So as we look at that low off the coast of California today, this is where it's going to be tomorrow. So around noon today, around noon Friday. So you can see it's not moving very much, but notice what happens in British Columbia with this low right here. It dive bombs south and wants to meet up with this guy here by Friday. So behind this is the pocket of colder air that's going to come through. So this is going to swing through Friday, this guy right here. This is going to bring that enhanced area of rain and snow shower activity further east to the divide. This comes in behind it for Sunday, dragging in the colder air. So this is by Saturday, and then the precipitation between today and Saturday looks like this. So this is for the 72-hour period of today through late Saturday afternoon. So you can see the heavy rain along the west coast, but notice we've got some darker greens and blues here. So there's going to be some snow, wet snow, falling in the mountains of Colorado and southern Wyoming with this system. The cold air isn't really here yet, so snow levels are still going to be very high. You can see some good moisture coming in Wyoming's western mountains and valleys. Even the bighorns might get a little bit of snow up high out of this. And then here's your Chinook zone, where along and east of the Continental Divide through Saturday, there's still nothing that's going to be happening. It's downsloping conditions, and the mild Pacific air continues to dominate. But along and west of the Divide over the next 3 days, it's going to be a pretty busy weather pattern with cooler, unsettled conditions. And there's your snow totals here through late Saturday afternoon. So a lot of these totals are on top of what's already fallen. We'll just have to wait and see what the total numbers are. I was looking at the webcams at Mammoth Ski area yesterday, and the snow was just coming down in sheets and curtains. So we'll have a very interesting look tomorrow at what snow totals have been like in the Sierra Nevada. So this gets us through Saturday. Then as we get into Sunday, notice winds aloft are actually coming out of northwest Canada. Right now, all the winds aloft are coming from here. Okay, so we have a reversal. We have an air mass change. So it's going to be brief. It's going to be brief, but there is going to be a shot of much colder Canadian air coming in behind the system, dragging a cold front through, and there will be residual moisture left behind from that Pacific wave. There, we still have the double blocking pattern, so this is stretching out the flow. Notice it's like we have wings with these lows here off the coasts, and that's just spreading out everything and still causing generally a zonal flow. But there is a shot of cold air, and this cold air is going to be rather impressive heading into the Midwest, the Corn Belt, and the Great Lakes again. As we showed you yesterday, cold air will penetrate the deep south as it comes on through. And there you can see it. These are the temperature anomalies by noon Sunday, so pretty significant cold. Sub-zero temperatures will be found right around there. And actually, we've got blue coming in west of the Divide. So a little bit of a shock to the system coming by Sunday and Monday. And you can see where that frontal boundary is by Sunday, and that frontal boundary will continue to move south. There will be, with that Canadian push, some moisture. I want to highlight this right here. Now, it may seem like an unbelievable situation based on what we've just gone through, but this is a trend that we've been seeing in the models, and we'll just have to see what this does tomorrow. But this little patch right here is going to work, this moisture will work with the cold air coming out of Canada. And we've got northwest flow coming into the northern and western mountains of Wyoming as well in that colder air. So this is the 2-day period of Sunday into Monday. Doesn't look like much, but there hasn't been much. So actually, for you folks in Colorado, you actually might get snowed on as we get into Christmas weekend, Sunday into Monday. Certainly, this is not a big snow event, but we actually have some snow reaching the plains. We have some snow possibly along the I-25 corridor from near Loveland, Fort Collins, down to Denver, down I-25 into northern New Mexico. So I'm beginning to think that this is going to be a possibility. Will it be a big snow? No, but it's more than we've seen in quite a while. And temperatures will spread, the cold will spread across the country fairly rapidly. But notice this wedge of a temperature anomaly in Canada. There's a Chinook forming in the Canadian Rockies. So this cold air is going to move very quickly south and east. It's not going to hold as we see high pressure building back in and a more zonal flow. So as we get into the last week of December, what we're going to see here is we've got another low reloading here off the coast of British Columbia and Alaska. This is generally a west-northwest flow. This is not as warm as a flow, but the cold air is going to be a 2-day event. Then we're going to start looking, we're going to go on to block watch. Next week we'll call it block watch. We've got the double blocks setting up again for the beginnings of next week. However, and this is something we'll touch on tomorrow, there's indication that this low right here may crash the block party and the Aleutians probably in about a week from today. We're just going to have to wait and see. Nonetheless, there's a little bit of weather coming on through, especially noticeable on Sunday and Monday. Our regional travel forecast will have a new update for you tomorrow. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas.